All right. Can you all hear me?
Hot tea.
So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming out in this cold weather to Creative Expressions NYC, open mic and salon. So those of you who don't know, we've been doing this online salon on remotely, virtually since the pandemic. It used to be out and about in Harlem and different places. And so this is really the first time we're doing something in person since the pandemic. So we're kind of excited. So we're just glad you're here. The thing I love about Dada, and thank you Dada for having us, for hosting us, is that it's always an intimate space. And if they're just two people in here, it feels beautiful to be in this space. So we want to say thank you to Dada, especially my girl Netta, and we're going to get started. So we have 3 features. We have an open mic platform, so anyone who would like to read, you can sign up. Thank you to our features for coming, and I'll read their bios later. And we want to start with a poem, a tribute to the late, great Nikki Giovanni. And I would like to share a story about Nikki Giovanni. I met her in person about 10 years ago at the Furious Flower Conference in 2014. And she was very sweet, very personable, and she always wore these funky socks and these shoes. So I have like this picture of her with her feet up, and you could see the socks, and she with her brilliant smile. So we're gonna miss her, and we're grateful for all that she's given us poets to look at, to be inspired by, and for her voice. Quilting the Black-Eyed Pea. We're Going to Mars by Nikki Giovanni. We're going to Mars. For the same reason Marco Polo rocketed to China. For the same reason Columbus trimmed his sails on a dream of spices. For the same reason Shackelford was enchanted with penguins. For the reason we fall in love. It's the only adventure. We're going to Mars. Because, are we all right? Who's this?
Andrew.
Oh.
Because Peary couldn't go to the North Pole without Matthew Henson. Because Chicago couldn't be a city without Jean-Baptiste Dussault. Because George Washington Carver and his peanut was the right partner for Booker T. It's a life-seeking thing.
We're going to Mars. Because whatever is wrong with us will not get right with us. So we journey forth, carrying the same baggage, but every now and then leaving one itty-bitty thing behind. Maybe drop torturing hunchbacks here. Maybe drop lynching Billy Budd there. Maybe not whipping Uncle Tom to death. Maybe resisting global war.
One day, looking for prejudice to slip. One day, looking for hatred to tumble by the wayside. One day, maybe the whole community will no longer be vested in who sleeps with whom. Maybe one day the Jewish community will be at rest. The Christian community will be content. The Muslim community will be at peace. And all the rest of us will get meals at holy days and learn new songs and sing in harmony.
Oh, man. We're going to Mars.
Because it gives us a reason to change. If Mars came here, it would be ugly. Nations would band together to hunt down and kill Martians. And being the stupid, undeserving life forms that we are, we would also hunt down and kill what would be termed Martian sympathizers. As if the fugitive slave law wasn't bad enough then, as if the so-called war on terrorism isn't pitiful now. When do we learn, and what does it take to teach us that things cannot always be what we want, when we want, as we want?
Other people have ideas and inputs, and why won't they leave Rat Brown alone? The future is ours to take. We're going to Mars.
Because we have the hardware to do it. We have rockets and fuel and money and stuff, and the only reason NASA is holding back is because they don't know if what they send out will be what they get back. So let me slow this down. Mars is 1 year of travel to get there, plus 1 year of living on Mars, plus 1 year to return to Earth, equals 3 years of Earthlings being in a tight space, going to an unknown place with an unsure welcome awaiting them. Tired muscles, unknown and unusual foods, harsh conditions, and no known landmarks to keep them human. Only a hope and a prayer that they will be shadowed beneath a benign hand. And there is no historical precedence for that except for this.
The trip to Mars can only be understood through Black Americans. I say the trip to Mars can only be understood through Black Americans. The people who were captured and enslaved immediately recognized the men who chained and whipped them and herded them into ships so tightly packed there was no room to turn, no privacy to respect, no tears to fall without landing on another. They were not kind and gentle and concerned for the state of their souls. No, the men with ships and with chains were understood to be killers, feared to be cannibals, were known to be sexual predators.
The captured knew they were in trouble, in an unknown place, without communicable abilities with a violent and capricious species, but they could look out and still see signs of home. They could smell the sweetness in the air. They could see the clouds floating above the land they loved. But they reached a point where the captured could not only not look back, they had no idea which way back might be.
There was nothing in the middle of the deep blue water to indicate which way home might be. And it was that moment when the decision had to be made. Do they continue forward with a resolve to see this thing through, or do they embrace the waters, find another world? In the belly of the ship, a moan was heard, and someone picked up the moan, and a song was raised. And that song would offer comfort and hope and tell the story.
When we go to Mars, it's the same thing. It's middle passage. When the rocket red flares, the astronauts will be able to see themselves pull away from Earth, and as the ship goes deeper, they will see a sparkle of blue. And then one day, not only will they not see Earth, they won't know where to look. And that is why NASA needs to call Black America. They need to ask, how did you calm your fears? How were you able to decide you were human even when everything said you were not? How did you find comfort in the face of the improbable to make the world you came to your world? How was your soul able to look back and wonder?
And they will tell them what to do. To successfully go to Mars and back, you will need a song. Take some Billie Holiday for the sad days, and some Charlie Parker for the happy ones. But always keep at least one good spiritual for comfort. You will need a slice or two of meatloaf, and if you can manage it, some fried chicken in a shoebox with a nice, moist lemon pound cake. A bottle of beer, because no one should go that far without a beer. And maybe a six-pack, so that if there is life on Mars, you can share all.
Popcorn for the celebration when you land, while you wait for your land legs to kick in. And as you climb down the ladder from your spaceship to the Martian surface, look to your left, and there you'll see a smiling community quilting a black-eyed pea, watching you descend.
Do you guys want to say who you are before we get started?
Oh, yes, why not? I'm Heather, and I have been with Creative Expressions since some time ago, long ago, 7 years, I think. And it was started by a friend of mine who has since passed away, Monica Hand, and she started it in April of 2012, I believe. I don't know if my maths is right, but something like that. And then she went away to do her doctorate degree and passed away just before she was finished. It was so sad. And another friend of mine, Cece Falls, picked it up, nurtured it, gave it a name, a website, and carried it on until she left. And when she left that day, when I saw that there was an announcement that it was the last one, I was so upset. So I made sure I left class. I was at City College doing an MFA at the time. And I took a cab and went down to it. And I said to Cece, because I wanted to get there early, I said, really? You're telling me this is the last one? She said, well, who's going to, I said, you can't find somebody. She said, well, will you take it? Well, I put my mouth in it, right? So I had to, I didn't want to organize. I want to go. I want places to go and read. But because she challenged me and I said yes. And I said, I'm going to need some help because, these 2 feet can't get up to do everything like she was doing. And so Ed, what's his name again? Tony and Robert Gibbons came forth with me and helped me with it, doing the MCing because, I don't want to get up in a minute. So anyway, so that was the story. And then we kind of got evicted, sort of. They said they were starting their own thing. Just in 2019, just before I moved back to St. Kitts. And so I was going to give up the reins because I'm going back to St. Kitts. And then it turns out the pandemic happened. And so we went online. Thanks to Ron. Where's Ron? Somewhere. Yes, who got us, because I wouldn't know what to do. And he got us online and we've been there since. And today is our first day outside, touching hands and hugging. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming, those of you who braved the weather. To be honest with you, I don't want to come out either. But I felt committed to be here and to have this wonderful time, so thanks. Sorry, that was a speech more than a say your name, but the rest of it.
Hi, I'm Jill. I'm new to the group.
Thank you, welcome.
And I'm Sonia, and I've been coming since before we were online, when we were at Lennox Coffee.
Yes, thank you for remembering.
And I love this space.
I'm Angela. I'm on the been on the committee for a while. I also started going when we were in person back at Lennox Coffee, and just happy to be part of the group.
And there's John.
Hi.
That means you didn't tell me somebody else was doing it. I'm like, yes. He's like, right of my walls.
So we've had the open mic list going around, and okay, Sonia, you're looking. All right, that's cool. Kara, you ready to go?
All right, I can go.
I brought some show and tell things. So I since the pandemic have been going to Joyland Mountain Arts Colony and writing and retreating, and actually Heather supported me with a letter of recommendation, and I love it there. And so the last time I went, I was making zines. And so like I was just telling Ron, he's my zine buddy, I made some zines while I was there, and I made a book art with teabag messages. So I brought the things, since we're in person for the first time, to share. I think I'll start with the tea bags, because this one actually is also like pandemic themed. I was drinking this tea the last time I had COVID, and I saved the tea bags when I realized there were messages on them. And then I made this little book, and the art, I guess, is the way I orchestrated the tea bag messages, and the little drawings that I did, the watercolors with them. So I'll just read it, and then if you want to flip through it, you can see more of the pictures. Brush in hand is a window to the heart. May this day be the day to lead us to peace, to happiness, and to joy. Accept who you are in this moment, but acknowledge who you want to be. The heart sees deeper than the eye. Trust is the question. Love is the solution. You are the master of your judgments, your decisions, and your actions. Even a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a first step. Travel in grace, knowing that you are protected by love. Be fearless. Know that all will be provided at the right time. Nature teaches us harmony. May you create peaceful harmony as your life's purpose. We all want to be understood, to be acknowledged, to be loved. Give to others and give to yourself the same attention. When your inner worlds and outer worlds harmonize, your relationships do too. The principal ingredient of life is love. Laughter is the same in all languages. Lift up others with your peaceful presence. Appreciate yourself and honor your soul. Inner peace creates peace in the world. Master the unknown by knowing your deep self. Be kind to yourself. Gratitude leads to love. Your potential self is infinite. The heart in hand is a window to art. And yeah, you can see the illustrations if you want. Thank you. And then I'll just read one or two of these. These are the zines that I was working on. And I was exploring my art and my zine making, so they're color themed. So I'll try to read and show you the pictures. Let's see, so this is blue. It says, your hand in blue. Can't tell. What springs me to do. So it's just like with the colors, yeah. They're little. Let's see. What color do you want? Purple, pink,
Yellow.
purple, yellow. Okay, I could do purple and yellow. Shades of purple. At dusk. Violet. In transition. And then a lavender issue. So a little bit of queer.
Match your clothes too.
Oh, that's true. I'm in purple today. It was warm and also Valentine colors. This one says yellow has personality. And I was kind of going with the images as I made the words. So the idea of yellow is so very golden. Thank you.
it's so interesting to see those in real life instead
Yeah.
of Zoom, you know, like because
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
harder. It's harder to see it this way.
Yeah. Wow.
And these tea bags, which tea bags are these anyway? Which ones?
Yogi.
And
Yeah,
they
you
have,
gotta-
they
you
have little sayings on them, you say?
They do, yeah. Yeah, so if you buy the Yogi tea,
Micers, and we'll come back. So our first feature is Diane Ward. And I'm so annoyed because it was open and now I don't see it. God, I hate using phones. I should have copied that one. Sorry. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. Diane Murray Ward is a New Yorker of West Indian heritage. Diane is a poet, book reviewer, workshop instructor, former modern jazz dancer, teacher, and blog talk radio host. She's appeared on international and national open mics, which include but not limited to the following: the Singapore Poetry Festival, Java Speaks, the Eureka Cafe, They Call Me Mitch, BTL, Word Jam, Like a Blot from the Blue, and the International Women's Writing Guild. Her works appear in volumed anthologies, including Fixed and Free, Love Letters to Gaia, Bronx Memoir Project, Moonstone, American Graveyard, Calls to End Gun Violence, and Unsettled, published 2004 with California's Bernica Poets. She performs annually on the National Writers Union stage and others during the New York City Poetry Festival on Governor's Island. Diane is within the Tesoro Gallery site, and she lists her website. Welcome, Diane. Is it too high? You want it lower? And this? Is this okay? You don't have to be right up. It's up to you. How are you comfortable?
You let me know. How do I sound?
Great.
You let me know.
Great.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be at Dada and a pleasure to be here with Creative Expressions. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Hold on, Diane. We want to see you, so I'm gonna lower this. That way we can see more of you. There we go.
Thank you. How's that? How's that? Better? All right.
There you go.
So, we have a lot of wonderful poets here. Thank you so much for being with these creatives. I am blessed. And so I'm going to get right to it. First piece I'm going to read is called, If I Were a Book, Would I Be Banned? If I were a book, would I be banned? Of course I'd be banned. Not at first, but eventually. I would couch my comments in a lullaby, a swing-a-by, or 3 blind rodents, almost any kitty song, because mine enemy isn't bright. Of course I'd be banned, not at first, but eventually. The audiobook would follow the melody of a collage of favorite American tunes thus far allowed and not yet unsanctioned. Of course I'd be banned, not at first, but eventually, because I wouldn't sing it. I'd be a marked mask singer, wearing gloves and utilize a voice change attachment so that you couldn't tell it's me even upon my speaking voice. Of course I'd be banned. Not at first, but eventually, because my nom de plume would be divulged by angry someone I trusted, who could be bought off with a flight ticket to the moon, and I don't mean piloted by Ralph via Camden Airlines. Of course I'd be banned, because I'm not going to change. Just the circumstances allowing my free speech taking on another form. DMW. What keeps me going? a child's smile, and infectious laughter. My husband's dimples and swagger. Our son's eyes, curls, and knowing grin. My siblings' voices, individuality, and humor. Parental and elder concerns expressed, their childhood memories and recipes shared. Same friends. Continuous, seasonless spring cleaning of family and acquaintances. Meeting new poets. Writing with depth and purpose, breathing, loving, Tai Chi, music, artisan work. Limited hope, no longer abundant, tempered by reality, aging, gaining sense, trying to obtain wisdom, just on the cusp of obtaining wisdom. Or I'm fooling myself. Well, it'll play out or not. Wisdom is elusive, or I've attained some by this writing and documenting thoughts, ideas, constructive, positive habits I have included in my life. Listening and not saying much anymore. Keeping a more concerted silence so that I can relish the gifts that may unfold in my stillness. Identifying disingenuous persons and leaving them alone to learn on their own and not at my expense because they value me less than they value themselves. What keeps me going is the adventure of your mind and mine, engaging in the unknown, oftentimes in sync, and tantalizingly when not in sync at all. Maybe I'm hearing wisdom bells. It sounds like music humming, low, rhythmic, hypnotic, welcoming, comforting. Note it. Continue. Try to sing along. Not ready yet? Still tuning my sinews, my neurons, my heart. DMW. Now we all know that we are history. We make history. We are. What others are going to look back on and say, oh, we're all part of Black history. We're history. So I find sometimes it's really good to look at what has caused me to be who I am. And part of that is, of course, from what I learned from childhood. So this is a nonfiction piece from my childhood. It's called Body Grammar. The big girls were those already double-digit age. So when anyone 10 years old and up spoke, it was the truth. They knew the world, after all, because they were here a while before us. Their words were pronouncements with weight and gravity. They were almost grown wearing knee-high socks, not anklets like us. The big girls wore training bras and secretly lip gloss. They were to us younger kids street smart gurus. My single-digit aged friends and I will commingle occasionally with the big girls. One morning in the schoolyard, someone within this shared community floated the idea of which of us could be the Virgin Mary. I wasn't going to be outdone. I wanted to be the Virgin Mary. She was Jesus's mother, a good girl. She had faith, she suffered, but ended up in glory and didn't have to die. He's the king of the whole shebang. Oh yeah, I could do that. I could be the Virgin Mary. I was a contender. But then one of the big girls said I couldn't be the Virgin Mary. She said that everybody knows that when little black girls are born, the doctor opens her hyphen so it won't hurt. And that's why black girls go with boys so young. Wait a minute, I have a hyphen? Where? I heard the word before. It's in my grammar book, along with comma and question mark. I didn't know about period yet. I am crushed. I'm a good girl. Now I can't be the Virgin Mother Mary. Mom said the tooth fairy keeps baby teeth. Maybe Mel kept my hyphen alongside my plastic infant wristband. If she has my hyphen, I'd like to see it. As soon as I walked through our door, which opened directly onto our living room, I yelled loudly out, "Ma, am I a virgin?" She's in the kitchen. I knew she could hear my question. Probably everyone did through these thin apartment walls. "Yes, you are," she responded at a normal register. I shout out, "Are you sure?" I asked it again because I'm not done. "Yes, I'm sure, Diane." Okay. Now I walk into the kitchen where Ma is cutting an apple for my afternoon snack. She must be cutting that apple into 16ths because she's still cutting a little bright red apple. Very calmly, Ma says, "Why do you ask?" So I tell her. The big girls said that I can't be the Virgin Mary because everybody knows that doctors take little black girls' hyphen when they are born, and that's why black girls go with the boys real young. Ma says, "Diane, that's not true. You tell those girls that the same thing that they say about little black girls could be turned around and said about any group of people. Someone could turn around and say it about them. It's not true." I was elated. Oh, I was so excited that I could be the Virgin Mary. I couldn't sleep that night. I picked out my school clothes for the next day. I would close and open my eyes, and it was still dark out. Oh, I couldn't wait to get to that schoolyard. I ran up to the big girls in the schoolyard and proclaimed, "My mother said..." "Well, you told your mother?" one asked. "Yes, I did." And I continued uninterrupted, and she said, "That's not true. I am a virgin, and whatever you want to say about little black girls, anyone could say about any group of people, even you. So don't say that again." Me and my hyphen proudly turned around and marched across the schoolyard to play with the other kids. Yes. DMW. My muse doesn't nap. Where there is a thought to be registered, notes become their voice, and I sing within. When there are thoughts to be considered, notes become their voice, and I write. Where are thoughts that do not want to disappear again, my voice attempts to imitate their sensory feel. DMW. Those of you that have heard me read before always know I like to also introduce another poet. I like to read other poets' work, one piece of someone else's work, because I like to introduce people to other people. And I think since this is a wonderful platform, as most features and open mics are, I give that time, some of that time, to someone else. So there is a poet I'd like to introduce you to. Her name is Rita Zahir. She has a book, Saffron and Sunshine and Sweets. And I'm going to read one piece of hers. It's a wonderful book. She's published by Red and Green Press, Marissa Prada in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And while I'm talking to poets, there are people in the audience that maybe aren't big on poetry in here. Here's a piece that I gotta admit, I wish I had written it, but I didn't. Rita wrote it. Give props. Go love a poet. Go find you a poet to write you into oblivion, to make you a muse for a mystic metaphor musician, to wistfully woo you into allegories of sin, to kiss soft sonnets into the creases of your skin. Maybe even to orate the odes of the new goddess religion, to fluff your aura, stroke your chakras, and revive your rhythm. Go find you a poet to season your stanzas with simile and cinnamon, to flower over your flaws and slow dance with your darkest demon, to love you beyond any logic or reason. Go find you a poet to tickle your tongue with perfect precision, to twist your lips in artful transitions, to plant pretty prose and invoke vivid visions, to pen conception of those divergent decisions, to playfully roll rhymes down your demure dimensions, amassing allegiance around addictive alliterations. Go find you a poet to memorialize your movements in all of memory, to heighten your hypersexuality with a heavy heap of hyperbole, to speak into being the beginning of your legendary history, to mix magic into the meaning of your divinity, to beset your soul with seductive stories of destiny, to finger forever and edge eternity, desiring you desperately into infinity, to the soundtrack of a sweet, sweet soliloquy, luring you into the endless, blissful abyss of poetry. Rita Zahir. So please, whenever we get a chance, we should do reviews, we should share each other's poets. It's a nice way of helping each other. Do I have time for another piece? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. One piece.
I love that poem.
Like I said, I wish I'd written it, but I didn't. You gotta give credit. You know, you gotta give credit. I'm gonna read this last piece. It's called Tally Your Gains. And I live in America, and you know what that means? Well, the whole world knows. You didn't find what wasn't lost unless you were the one that was lost. Now you find yourself to talk to, huh? Are you finding what you lost? Now you found the real you, like what you see, believe, hold dear? Have you lost your biases or found a few? Have you found redemption or lost your faith? Have you lost the conscience you never had or finally found one? Did you lose weight and find yourself satiated from a spiritual mana? Did you really lose anything but gained so much more? You zoom around the globe now in hyperspeed. Emergency resuscitation is still in the works because hands can virtually clasp across the screen. True poet friends and creatives don't require explanations or justifications to the nosy and insecure, because your wordsmithing is more than sufficient. Have you lost your fights and gained well-deserved bruising? Is that your judgment self-calling? Have you found your voice at the expense of others? Oh, so no change. You weathered this well. Another unseen monster wins another bout. People don't want to necessarily be other than they are, so why change when you can get attention? Play the victim while becoming the victimizer, the bully for a change. And when you have no takers, continue grinning, because your fall is coming. It's the fulcrum of life. The alleged yin-yang, the equalizing, the karma, unless you're all above that as well. Aren't you super powerful? Is there a palpable elixir, I wonder? I lost a fair portion of my sense of humor. I find an ability to silently cry deeper about the extinctions of animals, plants, and my belief that people are intrinsically good when they aren't. I found out how sinister people can be and smile at the same time. But I found that out pre-pandemic. I needed reminding to the nth degree during the pandemic. I lost a fair portion of my belief that people are mostly kind, fair, good-natured, believe in God, and will suffer from evil intentions. No. I found my innate inborn instincts again that I denied via the intentional confusion of mean-spirited persons. They faked being familiar, but found them to be pore-covered, water-retentive shelves with faulty, in-turning plumbing. Still there, good. Writing, continue poets. We are the voice. DMW. Thank you.
Bravo,
Amazing.
That was being displaced. And then she moved to India, and then there was the war with Pakistan, and that was violent, and she was displaced. And then she ended up here, and I realized that I'm a colonial settler. And I have that responsibility to the Lenape people and all the indigenous people here to respect their culture and their land. And also have some kind of sense of solidarity, because we don't have a map of all the small indigenous people that nobody knows about and where they are and how they're being erased, by mining companies taking over everything. And it's the same story, because when they took over Artsakh, we had molybdenum, which computer people need, and Haiti has iridium, the Congo has cobalt, and it's just going on, and nobody is stopping them. And it's the same thing, like when they took our land, they say we owe them $50 million for the homes that are ours. And they're now occupying our homes and renting them out on Airbnb. So what I want to do is read this poem about some women freedom fighters, because they're just going to attack again. They're like these relentless predators. There's no word for peace in their vocabulary. And so, the next thing they want to do is come up with some excuse to attack southern Armenia, to have a Zangezur corridor connecting Azerbaijan and Turkey. So,
Can you read the poem, please?
yes, I will. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so I have this poem. It's called Agony of Azeri Sadist. And these are the women, that were the freedom fighters. Azeris are afraid of you. Fierce Armenian female sniper, defending your ancient Armenian homeland from Azeri invasion. Azeri rapists and murderers captured and mutilated you. Put your cut-off trigger finger in your mouth. Now the Azeris are more afraid of your corpse, which is eternally firing at them. Azeris gouged out your eyes and put stones in them, but Armenian stones can radiate indigenous volcanic strength and survival. Azeris spent time cutting off your legs to discourage other Armenian women to fight back. But we are coming in waves of liberation, pouring out from our starbirth energy, embracing you in our hearts. So I want you to go hashtag free Armenian prisoners to see their names, and also my Instagram is Anush for Justice, ANOUSH And if everyone could just say, liberate occupied Artsakh from Azeri colonialism. I'm going to try and send this, over there. So it's liberate occupied Artsakh from Azerbaijan colonialism. And we'll get to them, and they will know in the deep dungeons of the Azeri jails that someone is thinking of them. Thank you.
A couple of weeks ago, trying to come to grips with what's happening here. And I've written 3 so far. This is the most recent one. One day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 second at a time. Cleansing the federal government of the dreaded DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. A Doge worker removes from a supervisor's desk in an intelligence agency a plaque that reads, "Be kind to everyone." Does this sentiment violate the chaos president's agenda? At a news conference, an Afghan journalist, a woman, asks what plans the chaos president has for Afghanistan. He pretends not to know what she says. He claims he cannot understand a word that she says. This may be true. She is asking for compassion and empathy. He does not understand compassion and empathy. A president ignorant of compassion and empathy is a dangerous thing. Can we survive him? One day at a time. Thank you.
And our first feature, I'm going to introduce our second feature, and while I have her bio here, I'd like to say something about her first. So I met Kay Bell in poetry workshops at City College, and Kay Bell is the Poet Laureate of the Bronx.
Yeah!
And it is amazing when you meet somebody in those spaces and you're able to watch them grow as a poet. So it is my honor to introduce Kay Bell. Kay Bell is a visionary poet, educator, and community leader, currently serving as a 2023-2025 Bronx Poet Laureate. She is a Pushcart Award nominee and the author of 2 poetry collections, Cry, Sweat, Bleed, Right, and Diary of an Intercessor. Kay believes writing works as a birthing floor for healing, invention, and reimagination. where the poetic voice is responsible for both blessing and bruising the inquiring reader. I love that, blessing and bruising. That's real talk. I'm a little fangirly. She earned an MFA from City College of New York, where she also works as an adjunct professor and academic advisor. When Kay isn't teaching or writing, she can be found nurturing her plants and her 2 sons in the heart of the South Bronx. Kay Bell.
Yeah.
So proud of you. Okay, I don't know about this. Oh, here we go.
I'm not good with microphones. They
Okay,
do their
good.
own thing.
Do your
so
thing, little girl. Do your
I can
thing.
project. You guys can hear me good? Yeah. Okay. I just want to say first that I have attended Creative Expressions before virtually, but it's something special about being in person.
Oh, yes.
You really feel like the spirit of community, so I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So I have some poems for you guys today. And I find myself in this 40-ish age.
Oh, you baby.
Look, it feels good to hear somebody say that. 'Cause I'm like, you know, now that I have like my teenagers about to go to college and I have the 10-year-old that's off doing his own thing, I feel like, what now? But anyway, these poems is what now.
Yes.
This is where I'm at in this new discovery stage. This first poem is titled Unraveled, after Lucille Clifton. I've been reading a lot of Lucille Clifton lately. I've been this woman since 1984. Since Orwell said perhaps one did not want to be loved as much as to be understood. Since America's barren land was sculpted from the nitty-gritty of African soil and I was a seedling of the diaspora. Since the Tupac and Biggie war ripped through my College Ave street, and we all rep Tupac, though none of us had ever dreamed of going to the West Side. And I've been this woman through each winter of democracy, the kind no one likes to admit does not exist. The kind that pencils me into a dream that isn't black, isn't feminine, isn't a single mother trying to find her way through a battleground of shame. See, I've been this woman since God told my mama to love. And when she gave her body to man, it was burnt in ash and I was the gold that glittered from her womb. I've been this woman since these poems were just words, alphabets, for the sake of training my tongue to be a rifle. An AR-15 barreling down on my white professors who taught me Shakespeare and Frost when I knew it was Baraka, Kamanyaka, and Giovanni who were the real goats. See, I've been this woman in this apple-shaped body with this coiled wool hair slipping into a raging red moon at midnight, where my vision is the flesh of freedom, a place where I do not have to be obedient. I can be this Pisces woman who knows when it is safe to feel and when it is time to let go. A naked woman who bore sons when her palms were full of soot and sins. A prolific woman full of songs and blessings. A river woman surging at the ends of the world, knowing it all begins again, where heaven's strange hands will protect her. A woman whose goodbyes were always war, but who has learned herself during the hours of worship and mourning and the joy that comes thereafter. A woman who is not always nice, has not been carefully kept, yet a woman who isn't afraid to swallow the smoke when she comes upon the fire. And that's what I'm learning at 40. So some of these poems are me recollecting my childhood. I think somebody else was talking about their childhood too. Yes, my childhood wasn't as tender. But I just finished writing a memoir, so a lot of these other poems come from that. This poem is titled, Blessed is the Block That Helped Me Survive Home. When I was a little girl, I dreamed of home, where my mother wore pearls and baked bread with raisins. My father was there too. He was a hard-working man who pulled me into the scent of his woodwork, his Bajan accent spiraling in my eardrum. But on my block, sometimes mothers do not come home. Sometimes father was just a figment of the imagination, where heroes were just wounds tied to a prayer. Because sometimes all you had was a grandmother, whose anger was like a gun that filled your belly with bruises. Because sometimes there were no kitchens filled with chocolate chip love, no bedtime stories or lullabies that eased you into night's wretched solitude. Sometimes the bodega with music in the summer is all you could remember of happiness. The kind that helps you forget the silence of a fifth-floor dungeon with 2 beds and a small window where the pigeons line the glass like bridges. Sometimes the concourse bus is all you can remember of escape, like how you purposely missed your stop and ended up near Claremont, where the boys were playing manhunt, and somehow you all began running to hide, to search for any place that would have you. Because sometimes you did not want to go home, but blessed is the block where the old ladies remembered your name, where the stoop was littered with men playing dominoes, and one gringa who gives you a hug and tells you you're gonna be something one day. Blessed is the block where hip-hop was a wildfire, scorched the air with a Tribe Called Quest, Most Def, and KRS-One on blast, on repeat, until your insides were full, fearless, and flourishing. Blessed is the block where the graffiti walls marked your body in soft movements, and you met your friends at Kennedy to buy chicken and beef patties and trade war stories of home. Blessed is the block where love triumphs, in the spaces of concrete, where there was hope and freedom and poems, and where heaven shrunk down and sank into your bones until your aspirations sprung forth from your tongue and your innocence was safe, supple, and soft. I wasn't planning to say this, but because the lady from the open mic really inspired me, I too just created a zine. And it is one of my first projects as Bronx Poet Laureate. So I created Poetic Pathways as a poetry meetup community in the Bronx, and we meet at different venues across the Bronx, and we have workshops. There's always like a professional that comes in. The last workshop we had a licensed therapist who was also a poet, and she taught us about how poetry literally rewires your brain from trauma, like how poetry helps. Like, it was amazing. Anyway, and so this,
the next one is.
Yeah, well, you can follow me at Poetic Pathways Inc. That's Inc. as in I-N-K, and you can keep up, and you can keep up with the upcoming events. But this is the latest. Well, this is the first zine that I created, and it's the graffiti edition. And in addition to poetry from the workshop participants, it's photos of the graffiti across the Bronx. The cover says "Fuck White Supremacy" because that's where we're at right now, and this is literally. Someone spray painted this near my house on a scaffold, so I used the picture as a cover. So I'm gonna read a short poem from the zine called "Gratitude," because that's where I'm at too. I realized gratitude just makes room for more. So I'm just hoping to always be in the mind of gratitude. This morning the birds came singing, and I laid in bed and received the good news. My body intact, my heart content, unknowing of things, but I was alive as the small winged birds outside my window, alive as the song that carried the birds through the weeping willow, alive as the sun-drenched people waving good morning, alive as the day which opened its mouth to kiss me in the places night tried to take me whole.
Yes.
Home.
Nice.
I never know what to read.
Spirit.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna wing it. This is one of my favorite poems. and it's titled Rest. And I think as people of color, especially Black women, we don't know when to rest. And I'm learning how to rest. And I think the first part of that for me is to release. So this is the release. Rest. And it's dedicated to anyone else that needs it. Because your body has love and ward and monsoons. And you have labored in farewells where no good morning softens the blows or lessens the weight of fear settling in your belly. No, you have not stopped worrying since your sons have begun warring in their own bodies against the will of your prayers, against the protests you made with God that you have been soldier enough for all of you. And he is aware you're not willing to pass down your grandmother's hysteria, the one your mother has worn as her favorite house dress, the one you corset around your waist, suffocating you into a circle of cliche tragedies. No, you can no longer pretend that unfolding yourself for useless work meetings isn't killing you, that you do not go into your office and fight with yourself for not being relentless enough to work your body into a knot after only 2 hours of sleep, after refusing another meal to help the fat flesh of your sins dance closer to the bone, or to muster the strength you need to mother your mother in a way she never mothered you, or to indulge the needs of a selfish, self-righteous lover because everyone needs something. And yet you have not figured out what brings you peace, what makes you stay inside yourself to master the enemy of you, the part of you that still believes you do not belong anywhere the sun is splitting open. The part of you that have slipped your feet into the soil, searching for the earth, only to be taken down into the quicksand of another bill unpaid, another day of bleeding that no doctor can explain. You have earned the right to place your head on the pillows you bought from Target the day you found out your husband was fucking yet another woman and her name did not sound like yours and her arms did not nurture him into the makings of his manhood. You have earned the right to take deep breaths, to lounge on the couch in silence after meeting your father only once, which cost you a pair of Timberland boots and Anne Klein perfume for his wife. You have earned the right to drink tea at any time of the day after forcing your body to memorize grief as survival, to accept happiness only when your hands are blistered in the feeding of others. You have earned a hug. A night of unwaking, a season of only sunflowers, the ceremony of unknifing yourself from the corners of your childhood, because aren't you the woman you write about in your poems? The one who rips the barbed wire from her throat to nurture the sound of breaking in you until you are ripe and rustic and real. Aren't you the woman unashamed and non-sacrificial, 1,000 miles from home but isn't home inside of you? You have earned the right to tilt your body towards a season where nothing is missing, where there are no razor blades in the wind, a moment in time where you are not reaching, because you do not have to stay where your flesh petals wilt. You do not have to stay. Go in day's soft light and be a whole wide wonder of peace. One more? Okay. Okay, so I want to end it here again because I'm writing my memoir, and sometimes we get so caught up in the trauma and the suffering that we forget those spaces that have nurtured us to softness, and we don't really meet a lot of good friends, right? A lot of people like friend. That word "friend" is like so. But I have one good friend who has nurtured me into my womanhood. I mean, the person who taught me how to be a friend when I didn't know how to be a friend. And this is for her. This is no title. I don't even know how to title it. So I just hope I did the friendship justice. Oh, look, she just texted me. That's so funny. Okay. We were gods before we were women. Sparing our childhoods in poetry and men, believing only in the sacraments we held within ourselves. The holiness of friendship we never gave up. We bore sons who fought us in truths. We shifted into their flesh and married men burly, black and bruised, never learning the best of us. Yet we cultivated a revolution of sisterhood and 2-hour phone calls. Sometimes day trips to the places that made us remember to save ourselves, we must first forget about being rescued. And often you rescued me from disappearing into a silent room where the universe hunted me down with a poison apple. You did not let me swallow. You recited hymns from our ancestors until there were only reasons to reach into myself, to reel my body in until it became the answer, until it wasn't just a thing that hurts, until it became a place of knowing. And sometimes I'm in awe of what you know, like how you have always believed the moon would stop shivering if we stared at the sky long enough to dream our womanhood into stars, into the spaces of the night where we listen to a Christ-like silence that eventually whispers what we have never been taught, but we have learned in the moments day reneged on his promise to begin again. Today I found the untouched desert of my feminine, and you were there. Fire, hips, and logic guiding me towards what makes me afraid, but I know I must conquer. As I trembled, I felt your hands against my back, easing over my bruises, urging me to hold the holiness of my grief, to see the journey as a dance, a mambo towards my most sacred self. Only the truest of love can do this. Sometimes I'm disappointed at how easy I lose my footing, how I'm often returning to the innermost parts of myself I often abandon. But as always, you stand guard at the threshold of my uncertainty, ever ready to remind me of who I am should I ever forget. Poem. Thank you.
I see why you're alone.
Micah, before we go into our final feature. So let's have Joe Lanier.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. Fall is a time of transition from fall to winter, and change often represents loss. However, mourning is part of the process of healing from loss. And in fall, great change came to this country. I mean, that's as much as you can say about that. And so I wrote a poem that is a mourning of that, but also a sort of path to healing from that change and the loss that we are now like up to our chins in. And so I call this poem The Mourning After, and mourning is M-O-U-R-N-I-G. It's kind of a play on words. Remember to breathe. Always remember to pause and breathe whenever you can. It'll serve you well. Okay. Breathe and settle. Settle and breathe, because we will long mourn the losses sustained in November, the continuation of forward momentum towards a future of potential, while peace, truth, and justice swoon and slumber in the soporific fields of the corrupt. And in this trio's absence, black and brown bodies will fall prey to the mortal savageries of poverty, inequality, melancholy, and despair. Breathe and settle, settle and breathe, because we will long collectively mourn the indignities we will now be forced to bear witness to, due to the triumphant ignorance that has given birth to book bans, denied bodily autonomy, while ladling out more than generous helpings of harsh gender and reproductive realities under the fluorescent and unapologetic glare of the lighting at an all-you-can-eat buffet of mayhem and misogyny, seasoned with lies, lies, and more lies. Therefore, we must breathe and settle and breathe, because even in the unforgiving and turbulent wake of last November, Sisyphus-like, we still have to try and make our way up the hill, pushing the boulder of our fragile hopes and dreams for a better future. Breathe and settle and breathe in the hopes that one day the titanic implications of that not so distant November recede and give way to a faith in our awakening to a world that has continued to spin, under a sun that has continued to shine, and a moon that has continued its work of pulling the tides below in time to its rhythms. A world where the seasons have continued to change and bees have continued to buzz, so that flowers can continue to bloom and polar bears can continue to dance upon the Arctic ice of their northern home. Yes, my sweet, breathe and settle and breathe, for our collective work of mourning is only just beginning. Okay. So this is in contrast to that, and it's more of hope. And as Diane said earlier, we need to give credit to people. And I want to credit Karen, because I was inspired to write this after taking her wonderful poetic meditation series in the fall. And I was involved. Yes. So I was invited to write this by another community that I belong to. And so this is Winter, a poetic meditation. You stand at transition's edge where light meets dark, equally matched on either side of the border, between alert and slumber. You long for release from a past moistened by salty tears of loss that have traced a glistening path down the surfaces of your soul, eventually collecting within your spirit's deepest reservoirs. You surrender to the season's whispering siren call to sleep, sinking gratefully into its swaddling cocoon, freed ever so gently from fall's receding light. Your descent quickens and your eagerness grows to accept the solstice's urgent invitation to gestate stillness. Now insulated from upper world's hectic pace, your senses drowse as you settle into inner world's darkened depths. In the silent dimness, you reluctantly relinquish distant memories, gambling on faith's fragile strength to harness a yet to unfold future. Epilogue. Each moment we die, but are also reborn. The cycle begins again and again, like an endlessly petaled fractal, bringing forth an eternity of change. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our second round of open micers and our NK, and now our last but not least feature. And I said Ngoma should go last because, you know, he be bringing props. So, you know, after that, it's like, I know who we're dealing with here.
Going Harlem with him.
Okay. It's like, hello. And really, yeah, anyway, you'll see. I'm going to shut up because I'm like, damn, look at the colors. Oh, okay. Ngoma Hill is a performer, it's poet, multi-instrumentalist, singer, and songwriter, artivist and paradigm shifter who for over 50 years has used culture as a tool to raise socio-political and spiritual consciousness through work that encourages critical thought, a former member of Amiri Baraka, second time his name came up in here today, important. The Spirit House, Movers and Players, and the contemporary freedom song doer, Serious Business. Ngoma weaves poetry and song that raises contradictions and searches for a solution to a just and peaceful world, which we need. Ngoma was the Prop Slam winner of the 1997 National Poetry Slam competition in Middletown, Connecticut, and has been published in African Voices magazine, Long Shot Anthology, The Underwood Review, Signifying Harlem Review, Bum Rush the Page, Luis Reyes Rivera. Jam Anthology, Poems On the Road to Peace, Volumes 1, 2, and 3, Yale Press and Let Loose on the World, Amiri Baraka at 75, The Understanding Between Foxes and Light Great Weather, For Media and the New Rain, Blind, Beggar Press, 35th issue. It's like on and on. Amiri Baraka, Brilliant, Flame Third World Press. He was featured in the PBS spoken word documentary, The Afro Poets, with Allen Ginsberg. Ngoma was selected as the Beat Poet Laureate of New York for 2017. So 2 laureates up in here today. Wow. Deep, right? By the National Beat Poetry Foundation and the New Beat Achievement Award for New Beats Poet Laureate in 2021. In 2022, Ngoma received a Lifetime Achievement Award for Literary and Musical Excellence and Artivism from, did you make up that word? From Poets, I love it, from Poets Network and Exchange. Ngoma has curated and hosted the Poetry Slam at the Martin Luther King Family Festival of Social and Environmental Justice at the Yale Peabody Museum since 1995. He was also selected to participate in the 2009 Badishala, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Poetry Exchange in Cape Town, South Africa. In December of 2011, he was initiated as a priest of Obatala in Ibadan, Nigeria. In June of 2013, he was initiated as a priest of Ifa. Welcome, Ngoma Hill. You know, and I was like, I can't cut that bio. I just can't cut it. I just can't cut it. We got to do it. You need anything?
Let me see.
Mic check.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Mic check. This is a test. This is a test. The state of disunion is homeless and has no address. This is a test. Wrapped in a tattered, blood-splattered banner, Fat Sam sleeps on park benches, bag spare change from the Japanese embassy, payback for Hiroshima. The Wall Street yo-yo defies balance. Budget won't budge, eviction papers served. Angry landlords demand cash deposits before postponement, but no postponement of poverty is granted. Only in God we trust. Stamped on a gold bullion, or maybe a Krugerrand might do, but plastic melts down and jams up at ATM machines, and the ashes at the token booth is only a token of the sickness. It's 12:46 a.m. and this poem interrupts the night, demanding to be written. Cause bosses like bowling balls throw strikes against unions, and 30 pieces of silver won't save your soul. Willie lynched us so bad that violence doesn't shock us anymore. Not even death lasts forever, as a daily diet is elusive to the many. All the factories are closed, nothing's made here anymore, no one works. All the unions busted, everyone's gone fishing, all the fish are dead. Even nuns have dildos, and confessional chambers are not safe for your young sons. The cross is a sword used by a conqueror stuck in the heart of the earth. The richest country in the world is morally bankrupt, the president's a joke. Sounds like an emergency to me. Some take it as a joke, a hoax to keep the peace at least, or at least to keep the peace. But I really need to know, are you listening? Can we all get to the same page in this book of life? Mic check. Mic check. This is a test. This is a test. The state of disunion is homeless and has no address. This is a test. Is this thing on? So I've been part of Creative Expressions ever since it was up on Linux. And it's good to see all of y'all, the ones that have been coming all these years and been listening to your poems and whatnot, and I hope I can do justice. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me, and before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave, and I'll fight for the right to be free. Where I come from. I come from back of the bus and colored water fountains. I come from segregated toilets and no niggas or dogs allowed. I come from segregated and unequal schools with hand-me-down books. I come from sit up in the balcony. I come from you can't buy a house in this neighborhood. I come from you can't eat at this lunch counter. I come from go around the back to get your food. I come from picket lines, bus boycotts, and fire hoses. I come from freedom rides, freedom songs, and jail cells. I come from we've been buked and we've been scorned. I come from we shall overcome. I come from black fist raised high, little Bobby Hutton, Fred Hampton, and George Jackson. I come from street fighting and rebellion, San Quentin and Attica, Black Panthers, Young Lords, and free breakfast programs. I come from runaway slaves. I come from Amiri Baraka, Simba Wachunga, and Watu Wazuri. I come from poor libations on ancestors' graves. I come from the struggle to be free, to be free, to be free. Oh, freedom over me. So, since it's Black History Month, I brought out all my Black History stuff. Yeah, I've got this book you might be interested in. I'm going to do a couple of poems for it, but not all the poems don't come from there. But the book is called I Didn't Come Here to Tap Dance. I published it my damn self because I got tired of waiting for somebody to publish me.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I started writing these poems like around 1969. I'm sorry, give me a second. Is anybody else cold or something? Yes. I just want to know. One last poem for Amiri B. Daughter hit me with the text saying Amelia B had left the building. I'm still trying to find words to express my funk. The pain was like having teeth ripped out with no anesthesia, leaving a hole that has no filling. Mary was like another father to me. He named me in Goma back in '71. I've been trying to live up to the attribute ever since. There's a pledge we took that's still tattooed to my consciousness. We are sworn African revolutionaries. We will make revolution or die. I've been soldiering since then. He told us that culture is a weapon, so I stay strapped, fully loaded, slinging stones at Goliath, swinging my axe, trying to knock down the walls of Jericho. But this poem ain't about me. This poem is about the master teacher, the legacy he left, and the record that he set. It's about recognizing the fact that the truth will set you free. So the fact remains we're still at war, and the battle ain't over. To see the way forward, remember the concept of Sankofa. Go back to your old-time religions. Return to your ancestors' visions. Go to the crossroads and pray for a Legba to open the way. Just don't forget, freedom ain't free, and Kazi, work, is the blackest of all. Now I realize this poem is sloganized, plagiarized, and cliche, but the last thing I want to say is, don't mourn, organize. So, since it's Black History Month, I thought I'd bring a little history. This is a 3-string cigar box guitar. When Africans were brought here, they couldn't bring the instruments with them, obviously. So they started making instruments out of whatever they could make them out of. And they made out of instruments, out of cigar boxes and all kinds of stuff. I'm sorry. Stopped on Evo Landing, try to walk on water. I'm a runaway, I'm a renegade, I'm a son of a dusty daughter. You ain't paid your dues, you ain't paid your dues, you ain't paid your dues to sing my blues, to sing my blues. Easy in Charleston, Nanny of the Maroons, Nat Turner, John Brown, Harriet Tubman, Freedom Bound, Wayne paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. Just sing my blues, just sing my blues. Work from sun up to sundown. Black babies sold by the pound. Ancestors buried in hallowed ground. You ain't paid your dues. Whole world seemed like a big plantation. I'm just trying to get my reparations, 'cause you ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. To sing my blues, to sing my blues. Didn't come on a Mayflower, came on a good ship, Jesus. I'm a star, Matilda, Henrietta Marie, chain bound and shackled, Gory Taylor, me in a castle, copper and Manila, sugar and tobacco. Bring you greetings from the village of Harlem. Harlem, oh Harlem, oh Harlem, my pen bleeds for you. Howling like a dog in heat on a full moon night, suffering root shot since the tree of life was bulldozed. Lost forever buried in concrete, invisible. Wandering like a lost soul trying to find its name. Battling extinction. Babbling on in Babylon, telling endless stories of the people and the places and the faces that they've seen, both in this life and the past. For the door to the past leads to the future, not to repeat the bitter with the sweet. Oh yes, I remember sweet. Like hot donuts from George's and bean pies and fish sandwiches from the Muslims they can take when they got the munchies. Schools at the crossroads, 125th and Lenox. From a step ladder, listening to Malcolm Marcus and Carlos Cook. Across from the Teresa Hotel where Fidel stayed because they wouldn't give him a room in the inn downtown. Kind of like Jesus and Mary. When Lindy was the hop, before B was the bop, long before hip-hop. Maybe some numbers runners on a bootleg or two. Langston Renaissance, Claude McKay and Zora too. These sweet memories I bring to you, babbling on in Babylon, where Malcolm was assassinated at the Audubon. Summers filled with menacing, Order of the Feather and Tapawingo, talent night at the Apollo. Before boys were shipped overseas to fight old men's wars, before the smack and the crack, buying the latest LP from Sakulu's record shack. Checking out Miriam and Hugh grazing in the grass. Before Bad Thomas St. Carol waved his pearl-handled pistol at the ad Harriet Tubman school, he was later arrested and murdered. The late night eat spot was Wells, where chicken and waffles dwell. Long before IHOP got Christopher Columbus fever and discovered it. When African vendors lined 125 Street selling their wares, incense and oil in the air, I'm just here bringing your memory back to black, babbling on in Babylon. Oh Harlem, oh Harlem, oh Harlem, my pen bleeds for you. To the question, what kind of music do you play? Swallow sweet sound like Quina and dog-faced blues. Music junkies, a quiet taste for flatted fits. Reggae, skanking, bubbling bass, funk in your face. Ghost of Hendrix, defying strings, ragamuffin style. Heartbeat, now your bingy drum. The aspera sound of the melanin-enhanced jungle dance on concrete. Unboxable, improvisational freestyle, buck wow. Rhythmically challenged culture bandits can't steal this. Music notation can't chart this. Unnotated sounds between the keys. It's too real for a Memorex. We string scientists do voodoo mathematics on your ear hole. Funk so deep, Grammys can't judge stolen blues. City to Memphis. Sight was spinning on and on from bebop to hip hop. Eternity's too short for this rhyme in future time. Reality was too short for this rhyme in future time. Only the righteous can sing this song, sing this song. Deep dee doo dang dang. Squid out of dee doo dee dang dang dang. Ba ba doo ba yang, ba doo ba yang, da doo dee dang dang. I'm the original man. I was a runaway slave, I was here before time. Time ain't real, I had just something capitalists made up to control y'all. I can't be controlled. I meant, go ahead, brother, your mama said to watch out for. Brothers was multicultural within here. I was here before race. Race was just something conquerors used to divide us. I was here before Adam. Adam was gay and didn't even like apples. Eve was a homegirl I was a dude next door. We used to throw barbecues in the garden of Eden. Brothers had to bring a bottle of wine, a six-pack, and a blunt to get in. Sisters could get in for free. Descendant Masters was my posse. Me and Cleopatra used to do the wild thing underneath the steps of the pyramids. Me and this poet named Saul used to sunbathe on the banks of the Nile. Me, Robert Taro, Cyrus, and my aunt had this badass band. We used to jam down by the Sphinx on Saturday nights. On Fridays we party in Kush. On long weekends we'd hang out with Krishna. We'd cruise along the banks of the Ganges on the elephants. Me and Buddha was buddies. We'd go to Ife on vacation, hang out with Dorishas, Yemayahu, Batalahu, and them. The Bible was the first National Enquirer. King James was the editor. I met that brother Jesus. He was a real black man, a young dude. Dropped out of school early. Could do a mean miracle, though, changing water to wine and whatnot. Did a mean fish fry, too. I was there when he was killed. It was a Judeo-Roman conspiracy. He was a political prisoner. We had a Free Jesus rally. Still got my button, too. Didn't work, though. They killed him anyway. Should have had Johnny Cochran for a lawyer. Me and Luke made sandals, the latest rage. I gave Gabriel trumpet lessons. He could play a mean blues. I promised Mary I'd keep her secret. You know, she wasn't no virgin. Just something she made up so she could have welfare checks since Joseph was an absentee father. I thought y'all figured it out by now. Must I tell y'all everything? Look, Jesus told me I could be God just before he died. I didn't want the responsibility, though. I know all them crazy zealots would be killing peacemakers and saying he told them to do it. I didn't want all that blood and shit on my conscience. I used to sling rocks. Nah, not cocaine. Crystal, amethyst, tiger's eyes, turquoise, onyx, and blue lapis. I was a prophet before it was profitable. Thought about getting a psychic hotline, but I couldn't get an 800 number. I was here before language, before you had to worry about people lying. Everything was the truth then. I was here before negativity, life was simple then. I was here before fear. I was here before want and need and greed and war and shame and blame. I was here before darkness. I am the light. I've come to show you the way. Follow me. I'm truth. I'm eternal peace. All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need is love. I am true Rastafari. Thank y'all very much. It's really great seeing all y'all. It's really great being all here. And don't forget you're gonna get this book. Peace.
Tell us about the event coming up on next week, this week or next week at Sisters Uptown.
We do Sisters Uptown. We do poetry, open mic poets with music. And it's every third Tuesday at Sisters Uptown Bookstore. And let me see if I can figure out what the address is. I'm sorry. Just hope my phone don't die. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give you the dress. I'm gonna give you the dress.
She's like interested in the instrument. Okay. There she is.
It's at 1942 Amsterdam Avenue. So we're gonna be there third Tuesday in the month. Every third Tuesday we're there from like 7 to about 9. Me and Tiba and Aqua, you know, we rock like that, and we play for the poets to read for, so you get poetry with music. But thank you all for having me. It's been great.
Thank you. All right, it was worth the wait, right? Yes. Thank you. Oh, here, I don't need it. It's okay. Oh, is that yours? Oh, I don't really need it. Y'all can hear me, right? Okay. So I just want to say thank you for coming. The weather was not great, and we're here. We want to thank Dada for hosting us and always creating a beautiful space for us. Neda and Emilio and the baby girl here. I finally met in person. So she's so into it too. It's so beautiful.
I'll take that hit.
So our next Creative Expressions is going to be on March 9th, I think, or 8th, that Sunday, online. And then our next one in April is going to be here. It's going to be part of their Tuesdays Literary Salon, so it'll be Tuesday evening. And so we hope that you'll come back out. We're grateful for the space, for the energy, for the bites, drinks, and for the love. Thank you to Diane Murray Ward, Kay Bell, and Ngoma Hill. And thanks to all our open micers. Get home safe. It's chilly. Be careful. Good night.